Hello, this is Words week 10, I think, and today I will discuss things like words, part of speech, and morphology, and how we should work with it in natural language processing tasks. So this is a problem. Count the word. Bob's handyman is the do-it-yourself kind of guy, isn't he? So we should calculate the words. And here it says, for example, do it yourself is actually one word because it's constructed of several words, but it means one thing. Kind of guy, isn't he? So, for example, the problem is not he or isn't he? Is it one word or not? And that is Bob and Bob's are same. So you see here it is clitic. It's like actually part of word or not. Now non-compound. So handyman. It's like two words, but they can be considered one word. So again, we go further, and this, for example, word machana ya kapushaka puni na taksunama. If I spell it, pronounce it correctly, but it is like this word is from, I think it's like polysynthetic languages, where one word is considered of many things, many parts, and each part means something. So for example, means so they really always have been kissing each other now, then, and so these things, like in Kazakh, it also has like these parts that makes it big word. For example, this is from Hebrew and Arabic. They are Semitic languages, and they have very interesting structure. So for example, this is like a word, and her Saturday, and that Niti, and that her daughter. So for example, these words are parts are connected. So also this language has its own structure, like in our language we have word and vowels and consonants. They give some meaning, but in Hebrew, Arabic, and other Semitic languages, the words are not the vowels actually not important as consonants. So if there are consonants same, so the word also will be same. Like so for example, like in Kazakh we have word kul and kul. So they are okay, so maybe another word, but so if vowels are not same, if consonants are same, then it means that they have same root and they have same meaning. Structures of field of linguistics. So this is for linguistics. Phonetics, it's about sounds. Phonology, sound system, human languages. Morphology. So morphology is the study of formation and internal structure of word. So it's about падеж or septic in Kazakh language. Syntax, how you structure the sentences. Semantics and the meaning of sentences. And pragmatics. So this is like from very simple things to big things. Orthographic definition. Prosodic word. Okay, so this is how we should specify the words, how we should count it. Words are units that describe a single idea or semantic concept, so it is very problematic, because actually you should know about idea and concept. So for example, handyman or do-it-yourself actually are different, are one by one word, they have some concept. Many semantic concepts span phrases or sentences and don't have corresponding words. So same for this, handyman is one concept, but it's not one word, it has two words. So also this problem can be for machine translation, because you have one language, in one language one sentence is written by two words, but in other language it's written by one word. So there are many problems like this. Syntactic definition. Part of speech. So part of speech is part of speech is so we know the word nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. So this is called open classes because there may be many variants, and also uh, we can create new variants. And also we have, for example, closed classes. Actually they are not, they are closed means that they have a specified set of data. So this is preposition, determiners, pronouns. So we only know for four people, like I and he, I, me, I, you, he, she, it. For example, in English, are also they, we, and you. But for example, in different languages, we have different types of pronouns, conjunctions, it's about and etc., auxiliary verbs, etc. So this is parts of speech. Also, this is important. We can use these things to improve our natural language processing tasks, because, for example, we can say, do not look to these words if you are, for example, doing classification or sentiment analysis. Uh, so knowing these words, specifying these words, you can improve your results or make it easy. Part of speech tag sets. So you can see this is like a abbreviation which is used for in most tag sets when you have to tag it. Also universal dependencies. Um, so this is like universal. So scientists tried to make universal dependencies, and they specified these things like adjective, adverb, and integer, I think. Noun, proper noun, verb, adjective, auxiliary verbs, conjunction, determiner. Determiner is a and the, for example. Numerical, part, pronouns, etc. Punctuation. So, okay. Morpheme. So, for example, words are made of morphemes. Morphemes are part of words. In English is actually have very little amount of words that contain more than one morpheme. So, for example, establish, it's one morpheme, and you add here disestablish. So this is called bound morphemes. So it's like suffixes and prefixes: disestablishment, anti-disestablishment, anti-disestablishmentary, anti-disestablishmentarian, and etc. So this is actually, it's very rare for English language. Of course, there are like words rational, and etc. But for example, if you compare it to Turkic languages or Russian, Slavic languages, this is very small, because, for example, in Turkic languages, the most of words, they are like constructed of other of word and many free morpheme and many bound morphemes. So maybe you have seen the example of in Russian. So it says that there are many forms of bijavshe, and etc. So which they are translating into English, which is consists of only three types, like run, ran, and running, and run. Yes. Morphological process: establish, disestablish. So this is prefix plus stem. Disestablishment is prefix, stem, and suffix is circumfication. Circumfication means it has from two types. Also, we have compounding, two stems. I have two stems, and we have new word, dishwasher. And for example, this is all Tagalog. This is language Tagalog. I don't remember where it is from. Stem bundok, singular mabundok, and plural mabubundok, and gloss mountainous. Okay. What does it mean? I think it's mountainous. And so this is also again Arabic, Chinese. I don't Tagalog. It's in Arabic. It, as I said before, it's like Hebrew, Ivrit in Russian. Root and pattern morphology. So it is pattern language, where you have, for example, this kataba is he wrote. Kataba, he is corresponded. So he wrote something. Kutiba, it was written. So it's So if in Russian or in Kazakh you have something like you have word and you have some new form you add in the end. In Arabic and Hebrew it's not added into the end, but because of this it changes the vowels inside, but the consonants they stay same, the kataba they stay same, but inside of this you change parts of words. So for example uktub, kutab, but you see every time you see this word, this consonants kataba, but these things changes, they dance from each part and etc. So Chinese is also different. They try to make compound words, as I see, living room sofa. So to this something and eye medicine, horse house, manger, rain hat, etc. So they try to combine two words. Now also they okay. So it's written text. You have this hieroglyph, and then you take these hieroglyphs and it become living room sofa, eye medicine, so eye medicine, etc. So you combine two hieroglyphs and they combine new word. Morphological functions, derivational and inflectional. So this is derivational morphemes. In Kazakh language it's called жалғау and жұрнақ, because жалғау is when you making not new word but something with a new word. So for example it's if it is barыс and you say barысты, it makes it doesn't change its meaning, but it have some structure. But for example жіктеу makes it some new word like balık and balıkçı. They are totally different. Of course they are related, but they have some structures. And this is derivational code. This is about жіктеу and this is about жалғау. Morphological typology, so this is about types of isolating or analytic, Vietnamese, Chinese, English, synthetic, fusional, fractional. So isolating analytic, it means that it doesn't have any forms, mostly doesn't have any forms. So Vietnamese, Chinese, they do not have any septic like in Kazakh or падеж in Russian. English, so same, because in English you have only limited set of these types of words. So for example in verb you have three forms, in noun you have only two forms, plural and actually three, plural and singular, and also like clitics where you have jacks, so something like this. And we have synthetic, fusional, flexional, so German, Greek, Russian and Hebrew and Arabic. What does it mean? It means that they are when you add new suffix, it also change the word. So you have, for example, korova, which is noun, but it can be you add some new thing like new. It maybe become korov or korovi. So this a in the end it loses it. And it's gone away. It can change it, for example, in many cases. Agglutinative or agglutinating, so it is Finnish, Turkic, Malayalam, Swahili, and what does it mean? Also Kazakh is here. What does it mean? It means that new parts, suffixes, they are added to the end, and mostly they do not change. Like in Kazakh, if you have last words, they do not change the previous word. Sometimes it may change, but mostly it doesn't change. So, for example, you have barras and barsten, it will add new word. And polysynthetic, it actually, they take many words and they try to combine into one word. Unimorph, annotate. So this tries to annotate all languages, most of languages by their a specified thing, a specified formula. Okay, so what is the problem? We can, so unimorph is like universal thing which tries to make annotate morphological data. So for example, if you write lessons, it will say lesson is a root and s is a its suffix. So it's like if you do something like in many languages, you should use unimorph. But for example, for Kazakh, you can use aperture. It's written in C++, but you have also Python. Okay, so yeah. So for example, something like this, Kazakh morph, бірнеше Kazakh сөздер, it says бірнеше determined quantifier, Kazakhsha, So for example, you see that it says Kazakhsha can be the Kazakhsha noun attribute and also from here sözler, it is söz noun, which is noun, and then plural and nominal. Nominal means that it's in singular, like atauseltek, like nominal case, default case, and many words. So for example, if you write something like baras, it will make it but not baras, but for example tanas, it will say it can be adjective plus, it can be adjective which is tanas, or it can be verb where tana, and s is suffix which forms the like collaborative effect. Which, so one of them is verb and one is adjective. Tanыс adam or adamlarмен tanыс. Cross single transfer formal forensic research. So this is like different approaches. Related NLP problems, tokenization and lemmatization. So many of you may use it in previous tasks. So for example, you try to make it tokenize dividing into tokens, and lemmatization is when you try to remove the endings. So for example, like before cat and cats, they were somehow different. So if you use cat and cat, there are cat and cats in dataset, and you use some word vector model or something like this. So in that problem, cat and cats will be different. The computer will consider them different. But if you use lemmatization, you will remove cat from cat's word, add last s, and it became as a cat. And when you send it to train, they will be trained samely. Processing words in multilingual NLP tasks, for example, language modeling, machine translation. Also, it's useful for these things. Syntactic tagging and morphological analysis. Okay, so let's continue. Morphological analysis, and so actually this is third topic and seventh sentence. Okay. This was before. So we have this is like explanation number. So this is also differs from languages, which is singular number, dual and plural. In Kazakh or Russian English, they have singular and plural. In Arabic, mostly in classic Arabic, they have dual, so for two peoples. Gender also, we know that, for example, in Kazakh there is no genders. There is no masculine and feminine. But in Russian we have мужской род and женский род. Also in Russian they contain neutral, like I don't remember. So it depends on this, and also for example in Russian they have animate or not animate. So if you have something which is animate. Animate means that it is something living or not living. It depends on this thing. It depends. It constructs words differently. Definedness, defined, indefined. So it is about article. In English, it's about a, the. In Kazakh, we do not have, and Russian is mostly not have. But for example, in Arabic languages, they have article al. So because of this, they change the word defined. So if you know it or it is about something, no. Possession, first, second, and singular plural. Noun, class, grammatical gender, case paradigm, etc. So this is падеж. Adjective, relation, qualitative, degree, comparative, superlative. So it's, for example, like in Kazakh, subsequent de. So this is will be superlative. Or for example, in English it is most or better, and for example, better is a comparative of word good. Words, transitivity, does this word transits from one thing to another. Aspect, perfective, imperfective, tense, voice, active, mood, indicative. So this is also different things about verbs. Like in Kazakh, in Turkish, there is a thing which is called I don't. Oh, okay. About a knowing thing or not knowing things. So, for example, you say he o geldi and o gelmiş. So they differ in thing that they were. If person who says this does know this or doesn't know this. So this is again from type talking course. So for example, you see this one. The very low is Arabic, I think, or not. Okay, so it's English. Tokens and types. So how many types of token? So you see, for example, this Turkish is very big enough. Why? Because it has many падеж, and so, for example, for token you will have many types. So English mostly do not have types because there is. Why is rich morphology a challenge for NLP? What does mean rich morphology? It means that when you have many morphological structure, for example, English is not a rich morphology because it have only three types, like three types of verb, like okay, not three types, but they have very simple structure, like they have present perfect, past, and gerund, which is like one of them is do, does, doing, done. Okay, and that's all. So they have four. While in Kazakh you may have many, like jasadı, jasaydı, jasamadı, jasagan, jasamagan, and etc. So many different words. So you see that. So high type token ratio due to the large variety of grammatical figures, especially this leads to the lexical sparsity and out of vocabulary words. So this is also a problem. So for example, you have some data set, not data set, but corpus about many books for all Kazakh books, for example. But there can be some words. For example, you have jasagan and jasamagan, jasaydı, etc. But you do not have jasamaysın. So if you use this one in new dataset, jasamaysın, it will not understand that this word has some relation to these words that before, and so this is called out of vocabulary words. In language generation, long range relations between words need to be enforced for maintaining morphological agreement. This leads to agreement errors. So, for example, in Kazakh language, we have in one word we can. If you try to translate Russian English text to Kazakh text, so it can be something like this. In English you have 10 words, in Kazakh you have 2-3 words. Why? Because these 10 words was compressed into one word. Why? Because of the things that they use prepositions like at, in, or etc. But in Kazakh we do not use, but we use these suffixes. Morphological properties vary across languages, and language families and mapping of morphological fields across languages is a challenge. So as I said, it's a problem because for example, you have ed, so it may different things in the house and or at the house. Also, it can be at the house. If depends on the context. So it's also a very challenging problem because if you are doing machine translation, you should understand the differences. So analysis, we have analysis problem: morphological parsing, morphological segmentation, inflection generation. So this analysis, if you have word and you want to understand which form does it have, and generation, when you have word and you have to generate. So for example, I give you bars and you have to I say bars in bars septic. So okay, so tautology, it will be bars ka. Morphological analysis, cats, so it says cat, noun plural, cat, noun singular, cities, city, noun plural, etc. And formal state transducers, it is you have this word surface, it finite state automata, it starts with this, it has this type of data, and and it tries to find out what is its form. Okay, so the apertium which I showed you before, it is about finite state transducers. So actually they have written all rules about how to form these things. So there was a big work. They covered all surfaces, like they have count cat, noun plural, cat, noun, etc. So for Kazakh language they have many different forms. Morphological analysis with RNNs. So this is we use RNN, and then it writes something like this. So it's somehow like this: evaluation of morphological analysis. So you can evaluate it, error rate, how many errors, edit distance, morpheme F1. So by these things you can specify how to work with this. Morphological generation. Generation is same thing. If you give a word, it finds the word in this logic, finds the introducer, and then generates the thing. Also, it can be done with RNN. Okay, that's all.